Have you ever wondered what actually happens when the biggest, most secretive movie studio on the planet totally loses control of its master plan? Well, look no farther because we are staring right at it. Today, we're unpacking the definitive, 5-month-old leak plot of Avengers Doomsday. And guys, when I say definitive, I mean we've got our hands on a massive document that has somehow survived months of absolutely intense internet scrutiny, and it precisely matches every single piece of official marketing, concept art, and leaked footage we've seen so far. This isn't just some Reddit rumor. This is the entire story of the movie, from the shockingly brutal cold open all the way to Dr. Doom sitting on his brand new throne. So if you want to know the incredible multiversal story that the Russo Brothers are desperately trying to keep under wraps, you are in the exact right place. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's dive into this, because context is literally everything when we're dealing with leaks of this magnitude. Just take a look at the comparison right here. Think back to 2019, about 7 months before Avengers Endgame hit theaters. This wild plot outline hit the internet, claiming Tony Stark dies, Steve Rogers goes back in time to marry Peggy, and they use the quantum realm to time travel. I mean, at the time, most fans totally dismissed it as fabricated madness, but then the movie came out and it was basically 90% accurate. Now, cut to this Doomsday document. It's been floating around since February 2026, and in the 5 months since, every officially confirmed detail, whether it's the X-Mansion battle with Sentinels or the Fantastic Four's prior history with Doom, has aligned perfectly. Its track record so far is absolutely flawless. And it's not just the marketing that lines up perfectly either. We've got major heavy hitters in the movie industry actually staking their own reputations on this thing. On July 1st, 2026, industry insider John Campea went through this exact document line by line and stated clearly, as you can read right here, this document is the full plot outline of Avengers Doomsday. And then his co-host, Robert Meyer Burnett, jumped in and confirmed on air that he had independently known this exact same plot for months. Multiple outlets and totally separate sources have verified the spine of this incredible story. So knowing that we are holding the real roadmap here, let's just step right into the movie itself, shall we?
Okay, so first things first. The film does not open on Earth 616. It doesn't even open with the Avengers. Instead, boom, we are dropped straight into Tobey Maguire's Earth, the classic Sam Raimi Spider-Man universe. But something is terribly, horribly wrong. New York City is sitting under this terrifying blood-red sky. You look up and there's another entire world visible in the atmosphere, and it's approaching incredibly fast. Right in the middle of this absolute apocalypse, two familiar faces show up with a really grim mission, Deadpool and Wolverine. Only, this time, they aren't bringing the comedy. They show up lugging a planet-killer bomb built by Beast.
Now you might be wondering, why on earth are they carrying a bomb? Well, the logic here is brutal, it's clean, and it sets the extreme stakes driving this entire explainer today. They are in the middle of an incursion. As the definition points out, this is a multiversal event where two Earths are on a direct collision course. There's no magic wand to wave here. One planet has to be destroyed to prevent both from just completely obliterating each other. And the horrifying math of this specific situation means that Tobey Maguire's Earth is the one on the chopping block so the other universe can survive.
Obviously, Tobey's Spider-Man isn't just going to sit back and let his world die. He tracks the duo down to a bridge, and this incredibly tragic, desperate fight breaks out. Wolverine is super reluctant to hurt Peter Parker, but he does it anyway because, well, the grim math requires it. He plants the bomb, but of course, in the chaos, the detonator breaks, so someone has to stay behind to trigger it manually. Wolverine makes the call. He stays. As the bomb detonates, both Tobey's Peter Parker and Wolverine are seemingly killed in the blast, while Deadpool just barely manages to escape using a stolen tempad. We then cut to Charles Xavier at his mansion, watching the debris of a destroyed world literally raining down from the sky, absolutely paralyzed by grief. Now, a quick aside here, insiders have noted that while these two absolute icons die shockingly early, they are heavily rumored to return in Secret Wars. So this whole sequence, it might just be a brutal chess move to clear the board for the rest of Doomsday.
Right after that massive shock, the film abruptly cuts to Tony Stark's funeral, right in the aftermath of Endgame. We all remember Steve Rogers going back in time to return the Infinity Stones, right? But here, we finally see the cascading, unseen consequences of his fateful choice. Steve stays in the past, marries Peggy, and they end up having a son named Jim. Sounds like a happy ending, right? Well, their quiet life is totally interrupted when a pre-season 2 Loki shows up at their door. Loki gives it to Steve straight. His life is an anomaly, and the time-variant authorities coming to prune his entire timeline and erase his family. To save them, Loki gives Steve a contact card and helps hide the Rogers family in a universe where Steve and Peggy don't exist. That universe? The Fantastic Four's universe, where they live entirely off the grid for 10 long years.
Fast forward a decade, and incursions across the multiverse are rapidly accelerating.
Dr. Doom visits the Fantastic Four. He already knows Sue Storm and Franklin Richards from a prior relationship, and he warns Reed Richards that their universe is literally next on the chopping block. Doom asks Reed to scan for any multiversal anomalies, and guess who they find? Yep, Steve Rogers. They confront Steve, explain the terrifying threat of the incursions, and actually manage to convince him to return to Earth 616 to vouch for Doom to the Avengers. Imagine that. Steve walks into a room of heroes who thought he was just an old man living quietly, and he persuades them to listen. See, Doom doesn't arrive as a cackling villain. He arrives perfectly positioned as the brilliant savior of the multiverse.
Now, what's really interesting about this strategy is how flawlessly reasonable Doom makes his masterstroke sound. He presents this three-step canon plan. Step 1, build massive energy cannons on each Earth across the multiverse. Step 2, split the heroes into strike teams and send them across universes to plant these devices. Step 3, fire the cannons all at the exact same time. Doom claims the resulting energy wave will permanently separate the colliding universes and stop the incursions forever. Honestly, it sounds like exactly the kind of massive, cooperative scientific endeavor the Avengers exist for, right? Which makes it incredibly easy for him to manipulate them.
But planting these cannons is absolutely no easy task. Let's see how this builds. One team travels to the Fox X-Men universe. We're talking Patrick Stewart's Professor X and Ian McKellen's Magneto. These mutants have survived incursions before, and they trust absolutely no one from outside their reality. So assuming the MCU Avengers and the Fantastic Four are an invading force, they just immediately attack. This is the massive X-Mansion battle that everyone was talking about from the leaked footage. It's only after a totally brutal standoff that Reed and Doom finally manage to explain the canon plan, and the X-Men very reluctantly agree to help.
So, as the heroes scatter across reality to build these massive machines, we kind of have to pause and ask the most critical question of the whole film. Are the Avengers blindly building the very instrument of their own defeat? It perfectly captures the Russo Brothers' core thesis on these heroes. They don't fail because they're weak. They fail because the right person with the right plan can point their heroism in completely the wrong direction.
While all the cannons are being placed, Steve casually tells Thor about the Loki he met all those years ago. Using the card Loki left behind, Thor and Steve manage to trace his location to the TVA. But what they find there is pure, unadulterated nightmare fuel. The TVA is a slaughterhouse. Everyone is dead. And right in the center of the wreckage, they find Loki's body with his heart literally, physically ripped out. Doom killed Loki. Doom destroyed the TVA. And most terrifyingly of all, Doom completely stole Loki's absolute powers over the multiverse for himself.
So the absolutely crucial point here is understanding exactly why Doom has done all of this. Steve confronts Doom directly, and Doom reveals the most devastating twist of the entire narrative. Steve's decision to hide in the Fantastic Four's universe, it wasn't harmless. His anomalous presence destabilized the local timeline and triggered an incursion. Doom became completely obsessed with stopping it, pushing his scientific experiments way too far. And one catastrophic failure ended up killing Doom's wife and child, leaving his face and body scarred beyond recognition. Literally every single action Doom has taken flows from the immense grief caused by Captain America's selfish choice back in Endgame.
The savior was always the villain, guys. And now, he wants a terrifying reckoning. In his castle in Latveria, Doom exacts the ultimate, horrific revenge. To balance the scales for the family that Steve Rogers cost him, Doom murders Steve's son, Jim, right in front of him. It's incredibly dark. With blood spilled and the truth fully revealed, Doom officially declares war on the heroes, just as his multiversal cannons finally begin their firing sequence across reality.
What follows is a climax of absolutely unprecedented scale. Hearing the call, the scattered strike teams rapidly converge. 3 entire universes unite against a single man. You've got the Earth 616 Avengers, the Fantastic Four, and the Fox Universe X-Men all marching on Latveria. Even Thor, desperate for aid, prays to Odin, who actually sends down a magnificent glittering army straight from Valhalla. We are talking an absolute spectacle of unified heroism clashing against Doom's forces, all while the skies above them tear open as the Earths begin to literally crash together. And this brilliantly illustrates the tragic reality of the heroes' efforts. Just looking at the math here, the horrifying truth sets in. The cannons were never meant to separate the universes at all. They were a weapon designed to violently accelerate the incursions. The heroes literally built the bomb that kills them all. As the cannons reach full power, every Earth, every universe, every single hero dies in a blinding flash of multiversal collapse. Everything is completely destroyed, 0 survivors. Well, everything except Doom. Wielding the stolen, godlike powers of Loki, Doom stands in the absolute wreckage of existence and begins to weave reality back together. But he doesn't rebuild the multiverse as it was. Oh no, he creates a single, unified reality completely under his absolute control, Battle World. He resurrects the people who died, but wipes their memories entirely. They don't remember the multiverse, they don't remember the epic battle. In a chilling victory that perfectly mirrors Thanos at the end of Infinity War, Dr. Doom takes his seat on the throne as the undisputed emperor of all that remains. Doom wins, completely.
Which leaves us with this final, incredibly haunting question. Who will actually remember the truth to challenge Doom in Secret Wars? This leaked plot is frankly an absolute masterpiece of storytelling because it turns every single previous MCU choice into a devastating consequence. Steve Rogers stayed in the past, triggering the death of Doom's family. Loki broke the timeline, giving Doom the ultimate target in the TVA. Every single domino over the last 5 years was carefully stacked just so Doom could knock them down. The stage is set for an absolute tragedy this December. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I highly recommend you keep your eyes on the multiverse because the real battle has only just begun.